Yes, and good afternoon. Today I'm going to rant about education. It's the 27th of May. Just sitting out here in the woods, as you can hear all the bird song and stuff like that. It's great. And yeah, I was thinking about the concept of education and realised that a lot of students have been doing distance learning for, non-practical degrees. And we now have software to check against plagiarism. We've got plenty of people that are qualified that could be marking papers, that are being employed to mark papers and stuff. And how hard would it be to put everything that you need for a university degree, including electronic versions of books, lectures, the expectations, standards, maybe even a little program that will read your essay and make sure that you mentioned all the relevant topics when discussing a particular topic, and passing papers and little layouts of why that paper passed and why that person got a degree and stuff like that. So yeah, there's plenty of subjects that don't require any practical. History, philosophy, all the humanities, which ironically are being axed from a lot of universities now. Why isn't this stuff open source? Why isn't a nominal payment made? How about you get all the lecturers that currently aren't doing anything to do lectures, pay them as if it's a TV thing, and the number of people that do their degree, they get a residual for that. But people need to not be greedy. What the universities are trying to do is charge the same money for distance learning as they're charging for, turning up in person, £9,000 a year, which is ridiculous. If you're not actually getting anything out of it, you're not getting the social life, the people that have lost a year and lost this year as well. So, pretty much lost out on 2 years of their university education, and stuff like that. It's bollocks. You could put it all on a USB stick. You could limit it amazingly. You could make it cost almost nothing. It's too much, isn't it? It's tilting. It's hard to. I should have brought a tripod. There we go. So yeah, I'd definitely like to see people's comments. What subjects could you do a degree in with all your coursework on a USB stick and paying a nominal amount of money to a tutor or a person to mark it or a person to give you the fundamentals? But basically the fundamentals of writing a really good essay, that's on YouTube. People are giving that away for free. But it needs to go hand in hand with some sort of qualification, especially if you're doing it off your own back. So yeah, or employers need to recognise online learning, that you've got a vague awareness of the subject that they want to employ you in. How about employers do videos where they record once what it is they want? I mean, they do it for entry-level jobs and, manual labour and stuff like I do. Well, all my training was given to me on video because they realise that it's cheaper and quicker. So why not an A-level? Why not a GCSE? It's, very, very strange. I mean, if you don't believe that person's writing their own essay, have exams and have those paid for. I mean, I'm sure somebody, if they were going to sit an exam, wouldn't mind paying the cost of doing the exam and some money towards it. But they're going to be paying more tax, so it could be subsidised. But now the government are talking about only subsidising things that are good for the government for people to be qualified in. And then you get a kind of, cultural stagnation. There's not much in the way of levelling up. I mean, that was the exciting thing about Jeremy Corbyn's election bid a year or so ago. You'll get a certain amount of money towards your education regardless where you are in life. You'll get free broadband that we can make absolutely sure is net neutral. We're going to reprivatise the railways. We're going to get everything sorted. We're going to, just make it better year on year, which is the job of government. Not to make it worse, but, and there was a recent thing where they got a people's jury to listen to the arguments for increasing welfare benefits so people aren't in abject poverty and children aren't in abject poverty. And then they said, it'd cost 37 billion. And everybody went, 37 billion. That's peanuts. We've just spent 400 billion. 150 billion of that got siphoned into, evil corporations for for test and trace. Got siphoned into PPE scandals and, the government spent millions on public relations and promotional videos. You're the government. It's not like we've got a choice. Oh, I think I'll go with government B, because government B is more on brand for me. Maybe we should. Maybe it should be an option. If you want to live under government B, we will underwrite your move to live in, option 2 land. Maybe we should. But I think all the Tories should have to live with each other, and all the socialist people should be able to live in a completely different part of the country, and we'll see how that goes. If you just need to build the whole thing from the ground on up, and that's why I'd like to ideologically secede from the government and the system that we've got. Wouldn't it be nice? Sorry, there's loads of midges. This is where I'm going to be coming camping with my friend Dean next week, and there will be video of it. And it's Midge City out here, and I don't get bitten, but he does, so that'll be fun. I don't know why the midges are all up here. The river's way down there. So yeah, I think it might be. I might bring my citronella candles, just so his face doesn't turn into porridge. But yeah, I mean, it's like ideologically, anybody smart kind of like absolves themselves from the government that they've got if it's oppressive. They're just like, I'm not thinking about it, I'm just going to do my own thing, and if that breaks the law, nobody's going to know about it, nobody's going to get hurt, I'm unlikely to get convicted. Just step back and go, no, this is not consensual. It's non-consensual government by idiots and greedy people. The same people that say people shouldn't get benefits reap the benefits from the government trough, pay no tax, have people whose job it is to assist them in avoiding tax. The tax code, essentially should be 2 sheets of A4. Why should the government subsidise the expansion of a business? We didn't make any profit because we expanded our business. We didn't make any profit because we bought back our own shares because it was the most profitable way to use that money. And then we didn't have to spend money on the money pay tax on the money we used to buy back those shares. Or we're so massive that we can offset our profit by allowing one country to make a massive loss. Or we can only really make a profit officially in a country where the tax is much lower. So you're having governments competing for mega corporations to be in their area because of the jobs it will bring. And then those people working over amazingly complex and, not fair deals, so that they never have to pay tax, like Amazon and Apple and Donald Trump and stuff like that, just offsetting it, plea bargaining on your taxes, yet still managing to live in a massive mansion on several golf courses. So that's what happens basically if you let rich people write the laws, and they're not interested in people getting a decent education and a decent job, because they know that they need a vast number of people to do really crappy jobs. So they do really crappy jobs. The value that they generate, by the million for those huge companies, is not reciprocal. No company tells an employee, right, when we do this, your actual value to the company, less the cost of the machinery that you work at, less our costs of shipping and all that, but the job that you do makes us, at 40 hours a week, X £1,000. Because I'm willing to bet it's not fair in any company. And it can't be like absolute. So I'm worth £80,000 a year to my company, they pay me £80,000 a year, and therefore there's no reason for them to run a company. Which is what, right-wing economists always say. But there needs to be a middle way where you can say, yes, you're making a profit, but at this point of making a profit, you are truly taking the piss. So yeah. What are you going to do? Well, just wait for it to all fall apart, because while they're doing this for their own profit in a very short-sighted way, our planet is becoming less and less tenable. Weather's getting worse. They're not going to change the way they do stuff. They're not going to look into more ecological ways of living. The people that run the religions aren't going to look into ways of reducing the world's population, so it's less of an absolute crash where billions die of starvation and exposure when the planet finally gives out. They're not interested. They're not. How can you have a religious person that's not interested in the welfare of the people in that religion? How can you have a government that's not interested in the welfare of the people within that geographical boundary? Yet we keep voting for them. You know, if you're worth more than £1 billion, you shouldn't be in government. You're already taking the piss. Anyway, but yeah, back to education. And they don't want us educated, which is why there isn't open source education, despite the fact you can find out anything you want to know to any level of complexity that you want to know it on the internet. So yeah. So I don't have to have faith in the academic institutions, I don't have to have faith in the media, and I don't have to have faith in the government, because it's patently obvious that you can distance learn nearly all this stuff and it doesn't cost anything apart from your internet access. If it's only going to cost you you know, if the collective cost, say there's 100 people on a course, but with distant learning it would be far higher, and the university lecturer is paid, I don't know, £100, let's just ballpark, so your lecture cost £1. You know, you'll only take up 15 minutes of a tutor's time every couple of months. So that's a £5. We're talking about maybe £3 a month. Happier people committing less crimes with more to do with better job prospects that are going to pay more tax. That costs £3 a month. But it's not going to happen. Anyway, that's my 2 penneth. I'm sure everybody will have lots and lots of comments on it. Everybody will have, yeah, but I mean, fair enough, practical courses, like learning how to do a physical thing, where you have to do experiments, science and shit. We absolutely need those, and those are the courses that the government's talking about, you know, sponsoring. But all the other stuff where people are just interested in a thing and want to know more about it and want to be educated and maybe want to pass that on as a teaching degree, you know, you get more teachers, which we sorely need, as a, you know, as, I don't know, working in the fields, you know, like imagine somebody wanting to be an environmental architect, genuinely building much better homes for the future. Now that's a calling. You know, those people would work probably for less than a standard architect in order to see their dreams revealed, and it would benefit, you know, local councils and the government as a whole if there were smaller, greener homes all over the place that were easy to access. Government housing. We did it just after the Second World War. We did it during the Second World War. During the Second World War in the UK, we built little concrete boxes called prefabs, and they're still standing. So the lifetime of a prefabricated house is in excess of 70 years. There's loads of them in Yorkshire, and they're still standing, and they're much better quality than the horrible boxes that are being built on greenbelt land now, and they take up a lot less space. You know, but if it was green enough and cheap enough to have like a utility apartment that maybe didn't have a lot of space but was easy to clean, powered itself, you know, if you moved into this, oh well, your green offset if you live here at £250 a month, which is way more than, you know, in 5 years we'll have paid the cost of the building off, and there's no bills. We're bunging in free internet, you know, you're capped off at a certain amount of power, you can only plug in a certain number of things and all that sort of shit, you know, your power, you know, the 10th appliance that you plug in just won't come on, all the lighting's super low voltage, you know, all the cooking equipment is, you know, geared down to make it as green as possible so that you can sleep well at night knowing that you're helping out and you're not paying an amazing amount of money. But yeah, I'm going to stop now. I'm going to just go off on tangents. But yeah, education could be a lot freer, but yeah, nobody's all that interested. A lot of midges here. Anyway, thanks for watching. Do take care, and remember, end greed, end poverty, end hate, or we all die.